Welcome back to Book Bingers, the podcast where two best friends talk about books, book boyfriends, book theories, anything that we can possibly talk about.
Yeah.
It just happens. And today we're diving back into the world of Fourth Wing.
Yes, because it just we're focused. We're focused.
Yeah, like it was really hard to stop.
Will there be tangents? Probably.
Absolutely.
Because I am who I am. But we're getting into the meat of the story. You talk about it was hard to stop. I couldn't. But we are just focused on these 5 chapters for this.
We're going chapter 11 to 15.
Correct. And
I hope that you have caught up.
I hope you've caught up. To the wonderful people that have asked about a Discord, I know nothing about starting a Discord, but if you want to start a Discord, we will totally join it and participate in the conversation. If you want to talk about our episodes and talk about all of the theories and your own theories, and we're down for that.
Sure.
I just don't
have the first inkling.
I don't have the first idea of like how to do that, and nor do I have the time to moderate it. But we do have people interested in it, so check back, and we may be announcing that we have a Discord.
Feels big.
It feels like we're
clearly not that legit.
We're not Who are we?
We're trying to
what are words? I can't even talk.
And they gave these people a podcast?
Right.
Holy
All right,
moly.
so, okay, where did we leave off? What had just happened? And then, let's go into chapter 11.
So we were just, we're about to do the gauntlet for real.
And Xaden just was like, hey, the right way isn't the only way.
Correct.
Right? Okay, so we're about to approach the gauntlet. Which to me, I'm gonna be so for real, seems way more terrifying than the parapet. The parapet is basically one long balance beam.
That's it.
In crazy
in the
weather.
rain,
In the
whatever,
rain,
but
whatever. This feels like American Ninja Warrior to me, and I would die.
Worse.
I would die on this.
You're not going to fall into a pool of water.
Nope.
You're going to actually
I would 1,000% die on this. Let it be known. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and we both didn't even make it to the words chapter 11 because we both noted in the epigraph of this chapter, it says, "It is a grave offense against Malik to keep belongings of a dead loved one. They belong in the beyond with the god of death and the departed. In the absence of a proper temple, any fire will do. He who does not burn for Malik will be burned by Malik."
Yeah.
And I said, burned how? Like, burned by Malik. What do you mean? Burned how? Fire? Lightning? Like, is there a similarity? What is Malik's power? Do we know?
Right.
What his power is?
Right. Right in the same vein, I said the same thing. Straight out of the gate, we're getting a grave offense against Malik to keep the belongings of the dead loved one. He who does not burn for Malik will be burned by Malik. But again, it brings up the question of who is
Malik.
How are we burning? And really, why?
Correct.
Where did this start? Does his hold on the souls have something to do with you burning their things?
Also, do we know who this Major Roralee?
No.
Major Roralee's Guide to Appeasing the Gods.
Right. And why?
Second edition.
Why do we need to appease the gods? Because there will be a line later that makes me think maybe the gods aren't as powerful as we're led to believe they are.
Yeah.
We'll get into that line when we get there. But straight out the gate, we didn't even make it to the first chapter.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that I was like, please don't be foreshadowing. And I don't think that this is foreshadowing. But Rhiannon at some point, they're talking about Rhiannon's going to train Violet in hand-to-hand combat, and Violet's going to help her with her history homework. And Rhiannon says the whole Treaty of Arif might just be the death of me. And I'm like, oh God, please don't let
that be any kind of...
Don't touch her, please.
Yeah, no foreshadowing there, please. And what am I talking about? Violet's wondering what the limits of Zayden's power is. So it says after all, it says, what are the limits of Zayden's power anyway? Could he use shadows to choke out every squad in here in chapter 11? Yeah. Like what are the, do we even know the limits of Zayden's power?
No, we don't.
How far can he communicate with the shadows? How could he have an army of shadows? Like what can this man?
We don't know.
We really don't. But I also wonder, will we get into any type of power sharing in this story? Which
I really hope so.
Really hope so. It's one of my favorite things in books is when two people come together and power share, and
when they become even more powerful than,
together than
you know
apart.
what I mean?
Like I love that. But I love Rebecca's writing because you really can dissect every single line and make it make something if you want it to. But does it? I don't know.
I hope so.
But that line really, really stuck out to me, that even Violet's questioning in her mind, what are the limits of Zayden's power?
Yeah.
Like, could he destroy everybody and choke the life out of them? I don't know. We didn't see him do that, so there's clearly some limitation.
And like we don't know, like we don't really know the depth of how sentient are his shadows. Like he says his shadows like listen for him and this, that.
Right.
Like we're not in Zayden's head enough to know.
And we haven't even really seen him get close to like the burnout, like
No.
where we saw Violet get,
Yeah.
get very close. We haven't seen Zayden get there. So I don't know. But I'm excited because I think in the next book we will see.
I mean, I think we do at the end of the next book see.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
So, I don't know. Then you bring up the fact, back to Dane, of begging Violet not to do the gauntlet.
I can't with it. Like, here's my thing. I want to be a Dane, like, redemption arc kind of, and I do think he does get it later in Iron Flame, but right now I'm so frustrated with him at this point, and I love seeing it slowly come from her being like, oh, Dane, childhood, like he just wants to see me well, to being like, what do I need to do to prove to you that I belong here? I'm the only person in the history to have two dragons, and you still, I haven't died.
Yeah.
I've won every single match. When are you going to start helping her instead of trying to save her? It drives me insane. It drives me actually insane.
Like, I don't know if I can watch. I'm like,
then don't.
Then don't.
Then don't. You know what I mean?
And I said this to Jenna, has been reading along with us.
Hi, Jenna.
And I said to her, I forget like how much this book makes you hate Dane.
Yeah.
Like you hate him.
Yeah, she did that. She did that very well.
To the point that like I really, and you say here like you think Dane is going to die in this series. I could absolutely see, I could see her making us fall in love with him again to then take him away. And
I
then,
don't want
and then
to
what, I'm gonna feel
spoil
bad?
Percy Jackson for anyone, but it's been out long enough.
It's been out long enough.
But it's giving the Luke arc.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Where you're like, I hate him. And then he does this big, you finally come around to understanding him.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then he sacrifices himself. I think Dane will eventually be the one to die, that we're like, it's the Severus Snape effect.
And like it shows us that he actually has been in Violet's corner this
the whole time. Yep.
He just had a different way of showing it.
He's the Severus Snape of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she's like, doesn't make him do anything specifically evil.
She loves Dane.
Yes. And I think that's why we don't see Dane actually do anything really unredeemable.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's going to be our Severus. And eventually we're going to look back and be like, Dane!
I know. Oh.
So I'm trying to keep my mind open. But right now in this part,
It's so
in the book,
hard. It's so hard reading it, like to not just freaking hate him.
And this book, this part, I can't. Him beg, I cannot. I cannot. Anywho.
Yeah, anywho. So then she goes through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And she she makes it.
Bitch
she
dominates
makes
it.
through. And we got a little problem from Amber Mavis.
The name Mavis, I knew a woman named Mavis, and she was like the Wicked Witch of the West. Her first name was Mavis. And I knew a girl named Amber,
and I hated her
such
too.
a bitch. So you put these names together, and I don't like you already.
It's a villain built for you. I'm telling you. Well, I bring my car to Mavis, and I hate it there.
Hate it there.
So there we go.
And the girl that answered the phone when I made my Mavis reservations, name was Amber.
Amber. Ugh, done. Know who also has an orange dragon? Amber Mavis.
I mean, it's like, come on. There's got to be a meaning behind all these orange dragons.
And the thing is, she's like Dane's close friend.
Close friend, meaning
and they
totally slept together.
Buddies,
like,
absolutely.
Hello, she's jealous of Violet. That's
God.
what this whole
she's
thing
like,
is.
She's calling out the codex and this, that.
You came for the wrong girl. If you're gonna,
guess
if you're
what?
gonna,
You came for the scribe who has that thing memorized back to front.
You came for the wrong girl.
You're not gonna win.
Oh my God.
So she ends up getting through the gauntlet on a technicality.
Who cares? She's alive. She did it. Congratulations.
The right way is not the only way.
And this whole gauntlet is made to be like, this is how you're going to get on your dragon. You know what? She's going to technicality her way through the entire series, so get over it, because she's not your average rider. She's going to have a harness.
Yep,
okay?
Exactly.
She's going to do it all her way. This is Violet's story.
So now we're in chapter 12. I have a note about the chapter 12 epigraph.
Ooh, wait. Can we go back real quick?
Absolutely.
In chapter 11, she talks about, she's talking to Xaden, and she says, it's inevitable that one of us will have to bury the other. What? Is this like, should I be reading into this? Or are we just talking about, like, we're going to be together forever, and we're going to be in love forever until we're old people, and one of us will die first?
I think...
Because what now? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. That's about Dane. Okay, yeah, that's fine. He can die. That's why I said he's going to die. Great.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay, good.
Oh, my God.
I got real nervous for a second. I was like, what? How did I miss this?
No, I think Violet will have to bury Dane, but does she use her resurrection powers on Dane or Xaden?
You know, I don't like this theory. It's the same with a TV show. When someone dies, please stay dead. When we start bringing people back from the dead, it loses its meaning of how...
So you're telling me
that Liam needs to stay dead.
You're telling me.
Yes.
No. That if Xaden died, you would want him to stay dead.
I'm saying don't kill Xaden.
But I'm saying, what if... I'm just saying we've heard about resurrection too many times for someone not to die and be
She could resurrect him.
Okay. See, that's what I'm getting.
But I'm saying we can't just be bringing back everybody willy-nilly.
Only if it's the main character.
Because then it's a soap opera, right?
Yeah.
But Xaden, to me, it's like Reese. Like, he's dead, but the tether is still there.
Right. Like, it's the venom part of him.
You know?
Dies,
Yeah.
Like, we have to bring back the human side.
Basically, this is the Immortals at this point. But, like, Dane, if Dane dies, Dane needs to stay dead. Liam needs to stay dead. I can't have her traveling.
Spoiler alert.
Just cut that part out, Sarah. But like, when people die, they need to stay dead.
Yep. Okay, so we're starting chapter 12. And the epigraph says, we're talking about presentation day.
Yes.
So this chapter is all about presentation day.
Yeah.
And it says, the air is ripe with possibilities and possibly the stench of sulfur from a dragon who has been offended. Is that this smell that we keep hearing from the dragon, or is that just the smell of dragons?
You know, I've been to a volcano.
Sulfur.
And the sulfur smell is real bad. It's like
when I think of sulfur,
it's rotten egg.
I go directly to my supernatural days, and demons smell like sulfur.
Yeah, it's true. But also, it legitimately smells like rotten eggs. It's overwhelmingly bad. So I can really put myself into this smell.
Yeah.
It lives in my memory. Like, really takes me back. But yes, I do.
This whole chapter is wild. Like, so they all have to go line up and walk past all these dragons, knowing that some of them are going to get scorched.
This is one of my favorite scenes, though.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see this on a screen.
I cannot wait. I really, I can so visually see it already.
TV timeout, though.
Yeah.
Last night, I saw the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh my God,
the
it's
live
so
action.
Well, it's the same guy that made the actual 3 movies.
Let me tell you, Toothless looks so good.
So good.
So if you tell me that you can make Toothless look good.
Right, but also the scene where all the dragons in the cave.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Same.
Dragons.
TV time
Man.
in.
Dragons. Nothing gets me more excited.
Walking through this, I just can so see them in their line. I see it so real, and before we get to my favorite part of the scene, I feel like you have some other things to say, because there's a lot of lines coming out. There's a lot. We find out a lot about Rhiannon in this chapter.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We
Anyways,
do.
let's jump in.
So we find out Liam took first in the gauntlet.
Of course he did. Liam's my favorite character.
Liam is fantastic, and all of the fan art of him I just love.
You love a blonde.
Yes. And that's a rarity.
Yeah, I know. Liam did it.
But there we go. A true testament to Liam. R.I.P.
Okay, we both kind of lose our mind with this line.
Yeah. So there's a line that says, you say, Dane likes order and pretty much detests anything that doesn't fit neatly into his plans. Mm-hmm. And that is a major, we just keep getting...
We're getting more and more...
And now that we're looking for it...
Yes, we're... Reading this the first time, I was just like, oh, okay. I kind of just didn't think anything of Dane.
No, he's a rule follower.
But she's really, really letting us know he has been grown up and groomed to follow command. He's not supposed to have his own thoughts or feelings. He likes order.
So is that Rebecca just trying to really let us know, listen, he's not making these choices himself, basically?
Well, and I think Rebecca also comes from a unique situation where her husband is in the military. He's something.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm sure she has seen a lot of this type of behavior. Mm-hmm. And I love that. But let's move on to this part where we both are like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Because I'm sure yours are down here too. Yeah. So at first it says, no human alive has ever seen a baby dragon.
Yeah. And
Tynan is insulting it, saying Violet should bond it because you're both freakishly weak. Mm-hmm. In Violet...
Immediately.
Automatic.
Yep.
She doesn't even think twice about it.
Yep.
And defends this baby dragon who we will learn.
Yeah. So we see Andarna, which is our feather tail, our golden dragon at the end. And it is, you brought up Toothless for a reason. And it's because I think we all kind of picture this golden dragon as Toothless.
Yeah. Basically Toothless, that same kind of face with the big giant eyes and the paws. Yes.
Yeah. And I think obviously we know why Violet does that, because she's been looked at as weak her whole life. So she will always stand up for, I think, pretty much everybody, anybody. And this is, and I think that this is the moment that everything changes.
Absolutely, because the thing is, the dragons are hearing all these conversations.
All of it. I'm convinced that dragons have hearing like a freaking vampire. They can hear every little conversation. Yeah. So, yes, we both are like, immediately picking up on that.
Yes. And then we get the first mention of Wyvern in this chapter, which is kind of wild because at this point, we're just thinking that they are this story that was in a book from Violet's dad.
And again, to make a little connection to Harry Potter, it's very much like the story of the three brothers. We have another story of, the three brothers. We're going to get the same thing. And if you've seen Harry Potter, if you haven't, where have you been? That story obviously becomes the end all be all of how that story wraps up. Are we good? Is this the same thing, right?
It feels
that way. It feels that way.
And
we're hearing about the evil wyvern.
Yes, and Rhiannon has grown up also hearing these stories. Like, she was
Not from the book.
not from the book,
But,
she
like, being
heard from
told.
stories from her parents, and her parents would threaten them, like, the wyvern and
Yeah.
the venom will come and get you if you don't
The scare
behave.
tactic to be good. The
Yeah.
Santa, if you will.
Yeah.
Like,
And so you wonder, like, what's the trickle down? Like, where did that come from? Like, where did that knowledge come from? How did her family get that knowledge? But, like, Luca,
never heard of it.
never heard of it.
Yep.
And so we find out that wyvern are like dragons, but bigger, with 2 feet instead of 4, a mane of razor-sharp feathers, and a taste for humans. Mm-hmm. And so I said, Rhee's parents have to know something.
Obviously.
So
And I think that where they live is also very important.
they're right on the border.
Yeah.
And so they probably have seen.
So do we both think that we will encounter Rhiannon's parents in this story? Because I have to assume that eventually we're going to need to locate to a safe haven or somewhere else for a moment in time. And I think Rhiannon's parents will be rebels. I think they will be part of the resistance, if you agree. And I think we'll find out that Rhiannon may have been this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love that. And
I would love it.
I think that is definitely in the realm of probability, not possibility.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
And then Violet says, my dad used to read me those fables every night, and I seriously asked him one time if mom was going to turn into a venom because she could channel.
Guys.
And people only turn venom if they channel directly from the source. It was after my mom had a really long night while we were stationed near the eastern border, and her eyes were bloodshot red, so I freaked out. I just feel like it couldn't be a coincidence.
No, as a writer, you do not write
No
that in there
way.
unless we're all supposed to very much sit up straight at that
So
part.
are we going to find out that her mom was in fact a venom?
So, there's some theories based on the new little pages that came out from Onyx Storm that maybe Violet has a twin. Do you think that's a
think she's
possibility?
a twin? Or do you
God,
think...
I hate the theory of her.
I know.
I
Or
really
do
hate it.
you think that because she's a distance wielder, she can wield over, they say, distance and time?
Well, we don't know she's a distance wielder.
We don't know, but if we found out she was...
I do think it would be plausible that Andarna... Obviously, there's no way to talk about this without spoiling, guys, so I'm so sorry.
so sorry.
I do think that with Andarna's being able to freeze time, it makes sense that her power would evolve time-wise. However, I've never hated anything more than when we start time traveling. It gets messy. It's almost impossible to do it without there being plot holes.
Yeah.
And I don't like it so much. We've already done Endgame. I don't need this. A twin could be. However, my theory, and I don't know how we get there, but my theory is the girl with the braid that we're seeing is Justinia. She's a scribe. She knows everything. She would recognize Violet and immediately know how important Violet is.
How'd she get the silver hair?
Well, anyone with venom would get that.
Would get the silver hair.
Yeah. She already has long hair that's dark, so it would look like Violet's with brown hair that would become silver. But the hair wasn't described exactly the same, where it's and then just faded to whatever at the bottom. It was just a braid with silver hair. So Justinia is doing the whole story.
She is.
She has to be a bigger part. She has to have a bigger part. If this whole story that we're reading from Violet's point of view is actually Justinia.
We really don't get more of her until the back half of Iron Flame.
Correct. And all the people in the hoods that are down there, that's Scribe Nation, babies. I think we have to see Justinia have a bigger role in order for this to be important. In order for her to be telling the story, she has to have a bigger role.
And if Justinia is the one who's writing the story, is she
Right.
good? Is she bad?
And will she be important? Will she be part of the cure for venom? Will she be the one to be venom aren't evil?
Or is she one of the ones that uncovers what history erased 650 years
Correct.
ago?
Does she find Violet's dad's, work?
Oh,
She's
God.
the one down there. She's the one that writes the history. That's my theory.
We know nothing.
Because Rebecca put that out on purpose for us to start thinking what we're thinking, that it's Violet. And I think it was smart because we're all theorizing the same thing. And I think it's actually going to go in a very different way than we think. But I personally do not want it to be her as the mage and her that's been doing it's been done before and it gets messy. But anyway, I digress. Where were we actually?
Her mom with the bloodshot eyes.
I feel like her mom has to have some venom in her. Has to. Was she channeling?
Hence Violet being born and having this silver hair.
Did Daddy-O save the mom but couldn't save Violet completely?
Is that why his heart started failing?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Janelle, we know nothing.
We know nothing. But that's in there for a reason. That line is in there for a reason.
And the thing is, like, I did not... It didn't click with me until right now. Until this read.
I'm telling you. It's like her mom clearly did some diddling somewhere else. Or some channeling.
Diddling and channeling.
Or she channeled while she was pregnant and she shouldn't have been. She was flying too close to the sun. Who knows, Sarah? But one
Has
day...
Violet been Venom all along?
I think there has to be a part of her. I mean, this white hair is... It's giving Spark of the Everflame with the eyes, right? Like, it's... The hair has... It's got meaning.
It definitely has meaning.
Moving on. But that line triggered me.
Yep.
Anywho, where'd we go from here?
The two green dragons start sniffing
This
Violet.
was my favorite part of the whole scene. Them smelling Mira's dragon.
Yep.
Is
Tyne, or however.
Yeah. Tien. However you say her dragon's name. It's so cinematic to me. I can see it happening. Like their snouts, like lifting her arms up so they can get to the ribs more. All of it. I can see it happening. And this is where we see her also communicate with more dragons.
Yes. So it says, I wrote here, like, dragons only communicate with their rider, but it sure seems like Violet can communicate with all dragons.
Correct.
Is that where we're heading?
That's... And please let it be known, one of these dragons end up being Rhiannon's dragon.
Correct.
What?
Correct.
I love this. I love this scene so much because they're not mad that she has dragon scales.
They're not mad.
In fact, it seems like they're a little impressed. Like, oh, this girl is fucking clever.
And I want to know, like, what is the conversation going on in between these dragons? Do you know what I mean? Because all the other dragons are watching this happen.
Yeah.
So now everyone knows. And it's like, So then we see multiple people in their little cohort get absolutely flambéed.
Bye-bye.
Like, listen, they're listening to you.
And, like, making fun of Violet and, like, all of that stuff is not going to get you anywhere.
Luca, it took me a while to be like, oh, Luca's a girl.
I thought Luca was a boy because
the name
movie Luca. Yeah, like, I just think of Luca as a guy name. But Luca's a girl.
So
and
sorry.
I don't like her. Bye. See you later, alligator. I think that everyone goes into this thinking that the way to impress their dragon is to be brutal and mean and the bravest and the strongest. And I honestly think that we're seeing less and less dragons because the people are not impressing them. Like, they're worse and worse people.
Yeah, because you're starting to see...
Not all of these dragons are even there, Bob.
Much as how things mirror society, you start to see more and more people going to the extremes. And when you have these extreme views...
Yeah.
There you go.
I fully agree.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Okay, on to chapter 13.
13! Moving on up.
October 1st.
It's always threshing.
Always threshing.
It doesn't matter what day of the week it lands on. October 1st.
Always threshing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you said here. What are the green dragons saying?
Yeah. I wish that they went like in order.
I know. So they all kind of get released into. Is it in the Vale that this happens, or it's out in the in the valley?
In the valley, yeah. No human has ever gone to the Vale.
To the Vale. So it's in the valley. The dragons are all mingling around, and everyone just gets released. And it's like the Hunger Games. It's like when the Hunger Games starts.
Like the Hunger Games.
And you can just kill whoever you want. It doesn't matter.
Game on.
Like, Kato would love it.
Yes, Jack is Kato.
Absolutely.
He's got his little group, and he's like,
that is what I picture.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting to me that this group of boys, led by Jack, is more interested in killing a dragon over bonding in an area where these dragons could kill you at any given moment for any reason.
So
you're gonna go after
my question in retrospect is, does Jack come into this with an agenda already?
I wish I knew when Jack.
I think it's from the start. I think it's from the start. I think he comes. My gut says that he comes in already.
So you're telling me the dragons don't pick up on him being venom and just kill him right away? I am saying
there are absolutely dragons that are fine with venom.
But not all of them.
No.
But they don't smell that on him or kill him? And how are his eyes not red right away then?
Because
you don't think it happens when he...
If we're saying that her mom was venom, in her eyes aren't always red. Xaden, we see in those new chapters that his eyes weren't red.
Fair. I just have questions.
Absolutely.
It leads a plot hole to me. That like Taryn wouldn't immediately smell it on him and be like, poof, you're gone.
Or there's stuff that the dragons just do not want the humans to know yet.
Fair. I
know.
Don't like the idea of him coming in venom. I want him to turn venom
while he was there.
By like Justinia. I want Justinia to be the evil character.
Oh my god.
That's what I want, you guys. I want when he's down there being, healed. I want that to be him turning.
Can you imagine finding out the whole series was written by the villain?
Oh my god, what a great story though. The villain turned. Not villain.
See, so before trying to kill Andarna, letting something so weak, so incapable of fighting live is against our beliefs.
Yeah.
Whose beliefs?
Fair.
Riders or Venom?
Or Venom. I said the same exact thing.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Scorch them, but the dragon doesn't, and somehow I'm certain in the marrow of my bones that it can't. More proof that Violet can communicate with all dragons. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think we just keep getting hints that all the dragons listen to Violet.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
I also think this step aside Silver one.
I said the same thing. And the fact that Silver one, the S and the O are capitalized, that is not a nickname.
And then he calls Andarna, later I talk about this too, he calls her Golden One. Yes. And I just feel like there is something very specific in this nickname. It's not a nickname. It actually means
Gold
something.
And silver go together. And I agree.
I feel like there is a prophecy somewhere.
Well, if you think about it, Andarna's grown up with basically Taryn being a father figure to her, which is what we see later.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's already told him about how long she's been waiting, who she's looking for, all the things. And that's probably why they actually let her come take a look-see. I don't know, but I do think Silver One is more than just a nickname
hair.
Referring
it's not
to
just
her
hair. I feel like it actually means something.
I agree.
And then we have, while this is all happening, then
I said actual chills.
Actual chills. And then what we see at the end of this chapter is Sigale landing.
Yeah. Is that where we end that chapter?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And so then we see Xaden.
So good, because I know we're kind of skipping over it, but obviously what happens is she defends Andarna. She gets in front of her and she's like, "You're gonna have to basically go through me if you're gonna touch this dragon."
Yep. And what
kind of bravery does this little girl have to step not only in front of a dragon, but in front of 3 guys that are absolutely gunning to kill you.
And she already has, like, she's basically broken her ankle. Like,
yeah, and I'm
trying to
picturing
get-
her like a Polly Pocket. I picture her as like 4'11", you know,
Yeah.
like just this tiny
She
little
manages
thing.
to throw a dagger, like, literally severs the tendon in Jack's shoulder.
We see him run away.
Run away.
Like the little bitch he is.
Mm-hmm. And who's the one that she didn't kill, but he's,
Oh, the guy that tries
Oren.
to kill her later?
Oren Seifert. Yeah.
Oren can suck a big one.
So then Taryn ends up bonding, and she hears Taryn's voice. She hears
What I also love about that scene is Zayden's there.
Zayden's there.
You know who's not there? Gail. Or anyone else?
Do you mean Dane?
That's... we were talking about the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
My brain
I
went
mean,
there.
Dane is Gale, though, in my mind.
Interchangeable.
You know what I mean?
You know? We don't see a single other wing leader like watching over, you know, just like I don't know. Are they even supposed to
Here's
be
the
there?
other thing. Like, I want the chapter where Sigale is talking to Xaden while this is happening.
Yeah.
That because you know that she alerts him.
Yes, that's
To get
confirmed
there.
later. Yes.
And I want to know what that conversation looked like. And then what the conversation between Sigale... I want a Sigale chapter so badly.
But also, I love that Endarna was like, not like, fucking let them. Like, there was nothing that was going to harm
No.
Endarna at any given
She's
moment.
over here like...
I think she's kind of entertained by the fact that Violet's doing
she's
this.
so sassy already.
Yeah.
And
She's already in full, like, teenage mode, basically.
Like, that bitch could have just flown away at any point.
And
And
she's
Violet's
like, are
over
you
here-
kidding me?
Violet's over here like, go, get out. And she's just like,
Nah.
whatever.
Nah. She also, obviously, Endarna knows. Sigale's over there watching. Nothing's going to happen to
Nope.
her. But Violet don't know that. Violet's over here getting hurt left and
But
right.
it's like they put her up to this test, like fully knowing, like, we're not going to actually let anything happen, but like
Let's just see.
let's just see how it
this
plays out.
plays out. But Xaden stepping in. Ooh, that was that moment that I think even Violet was like, oh, he's definitely not going to kill me.
Correct.
Like, that's where I think she stops actually fearing Xaden.
And I don't know that she ever had like a real fear, you
but
know?
I think that was like the end of that chapter. After that, she's like, he would have killed me if he wanted to. And now it's time to trust him.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, okay.
So at the end of chapter 14, what happens is she gets on the back of Taryn, and we realize that the gauntlet didn't fucking matter because Taryn is going to do whatever he can to accommodate Violet getting up into the seat. And
he's so funny.
He's
Straight out the
so
gate.
funny. He takes off and immediately she falls off.
Immediately, like the start of chapter 15 is she's just like immediately falling, and he's just mad. He's not even mad that she's falling. He's like, you're going to make us look
You're
bad.
making us look bad.
Like,
Stop it.
Stop it. Like, what are you doing? Hold on,
I'm
Violet. Like, you're embarrassing me. I haven't done this in years.
But this had one of, I think, a very important sentence.
Yeah.
He says, I know exactly who
and what you are.
Violet Sorengale. What
I'm sorry.
is she?
Who is she? What is she? What?
What? He could have just said, I know exactly who you are.
But he says who
Who
and
and what you are.
What is she? And
She-
she, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, what am I? But she doesn't even.
She's not fully human.
No. There's no.
That is confirmation to
That
me.
is absolutely confirmation that she is not 100% human.
Okay, and this is the part that we talked about before, where she says, "I'm sorry, I just didn't think I'd make it this far."
Yep.
And Taryn says, "I didn't think I would either."
Move that conversation
Move that-
over here.
So we have that in common.
Yeah.
So that makes me think there's so much to Taryn's story that we still don't know.
Can you give me the novellas
Right?
of just
My
the
God.
dragons, please? Okay, so now that we're back to where we actually thought we were.
Okay, and then Andarna says her first words are, "Maybe I was saving you."
Oh my God. I actually want to cry thinking about it because obviously no harm was going to come to Andarna. Like she wasn't being saved by Violet. She was saving Violet, and she will continue to save Violet through this series. Andarna is the one.
And then when you'll never be alone again.
You'll never be alone again.
Come on.
Oh my God. It's just like they're family now. Like they're bonded in a way that you're bonded to your dragon in a way that you're not bonded to anybody else. And she'll never be alone. Not only does she have her 2 dragons, but because of those dragons, she now has Sagal and Xaden forever. Maybe Nail too.
Oh my God. Here's to hoping.
But they're together forever. They're family. They're bonded, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. And whoever Andarna, if Andarna bonds to someone.
There's obviously everyone thinks it's going to be Eric's dragon, but
that would be fine by me.
I don't want a love triangle.
I don't want a love triangle.
But
I don't think she would give the love triangle.
I don't know.
But
has she done love triangle in her other books?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
But
wouldn't have read it.
It would be fun to see Andarna.
It sure would.
Have a bronze baby.
Oh my God! Stop. This is a good point here that you make. Her mom saying, "Don't say it," not until she does. For when she has to give the names to the scroll.
Yeah.
And I think Violet is wrong in her thoughts about her mom doubting her. I think this is an important piece here to make sure Violet does everything by the book, so no one can fuck with her later.
I do. I think that Violet obviously thinks the worst of her mom.
Yeah.
We find out later her mom isn't as bad as this book leads us to believe. I think her mom knows that Violet's going to have
we got to do this by the book.
By the book.
Make sure they
have no reason to ever come after Violet for any reason. Yeah. Obviously, her mom knows way more than we even know that she knows.
Yeah.
And I obviously think she pushed her to be a writer to save her indefinitely because the scribe unit is infected with venom. Jacinia, I'm coming for you.
Oh my God.
But I do think her mom is another Severus Snape character where we are led to believe that she's this heartless monster, when in reality, I think she's been trying to save Violet from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I think that line is another one of those do not say it. And I think that she's actually been also fighting for Xaden and those for a while.
Yeah, and so this chapter 15 ends with her giving Taryn's name, and then
the big boom,
Andarna's name, and
the crowd goes wild.
Both dragons, and literally all hell breaks loose.
Yes, and that's the end. That's so much that happens.
Those 5 chapters are pivotal to this story.
Yes, big epic moments. She now has made history.
It's insane.
And you can tell by our 5,000 hour long rant.
Oh my God.
On just these 5 chapters. What's going to happen when we get to Iron Flame? Bro.
So that's that. Next week we're going to go into what happens from here to chapter 20.
Yeah.
And
15 through 20. And let me tell you, another banger 5 chapters.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop. I actually kept going because obviously I know what happens in the story, and I wanted to get to a certain scene.
Fair.
So make sure to tune in. Maybe a Discord is the way to go because I really do want to know what you guys all think. Obviously, I'm going off the rails with my Jacinia thought here, and I could be totally alone in this. Or maybe you all agree with me. I don't know. But let's just entertain it, shall we?
Yeah, let's
entertain it for a second that Jacinia could be turning Venom at some point. Stop! It could happen!
I know. You know what else I'm thinking that I thought of after we finished last week was...
What?
How many times has Imogen erased Violet's memory that we don't know about.
I know, and we'll obviously find out more about her power, which I can't wait to like read those and really
So
deep
you're
dive.
talking to me like this whole thing could be written by a villain, and then
I'm
there's
not
all
saying
these
she's
gaps
a
that we don't
villain.
know.
I'm just saying she could be the Venom. But
Are the Venom good?
well, we'll see with Zayden, right? Like
know,
maybe they aren't. Maybe channeling from the earth is eventually the way we go in this world, so that the dragons don't have to be bonded. Maybe we learn to channel without going too far.
The gods have to be involved.
The gods have to be involved.
I don't know. Okay, we're gonna talk about this more next week.
Okay. Bye.